And welcome back. And now joining us is Amy, who's an NET patient of Dr. Sterling's. So can you tell me a little bit about your story? You went to other doctors, and and what was the issue here?
Basically, kind of at the end of my rope, trying to lose weight that I had gained on antidepressants, ironically, and trying everything out there: diet, exercise, counting calories, apps, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, all of that, getting absolutely no result. And it got to the point that I was so desperate to do anything that I just went in and saw Dr. Sterling and said, I can't take it anymore, you have to fix me.
And you want the desperate patient who says, I'll do anything, right? I mean,
yes. That's the best one, yes.
So how long have you been a patient? How long?
Probably several months now.
Several months? And you've seen weight loss?
I have. I've noticed a change in my body, definitely in the way I look, the way I feel, the way I fit into my clothes, that sort of thing. But the biggest issue is like having the motivation, feeling better about myself, being in tune with what's going on emotionally, giving more thought to where I'm coming from, giving more thought as to what my obstacles are, and then being able to overcome them. And then know if I'm having a particularly bad day and feeling particularly down upon myself, I can just call Dr. Sterling, get in, see her, and get myself straightened out and back onto the right path.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So you're going to show us the technique?
Yes.
I mean, how this would work?
Yes.
All right.
So, what should we work on?
We should work on how come Amy hasn't been to the gym this week.
Or Dawn. We could just, you know.
All of the barbecue over the weekend.
Okay, so I'm going to just, I'll show you as I'm doing it. So I'm going to have Amy hold up her arm. This is muscle testing. So we're just, it's finding out what she's congruent or not congruent with. So I'm going to have you hold strong. And then I'm going to touch your polarity point, which makes sure that she's testable. So I'm going to have you just think about the fact that you have not been going to the gym. So think about that. Okay, so she's not congruent with that. So we're finding the meridian acupressure point. So keep thinking about that. Okay, so then I'm going to go through some emotions. So the concept of feeling lost and vulnerable, the concept of feeling frightfully overjoyed, the concept that you feel frightfully overjoyed. So some of these words don't make a lot of rational sense. So frightfully overjoyed is almost the feeling of being like too happy, like running towards something and then being afraid and like running back. So thinking about that idea, how would you say that idea and the fact that you haven't been going to the gym, how would you put those two together?
I think I just get so excited that, oh, I'm gonna walk every day, I'm gonna walk my dog for 45 minutes, I'm gonna walk to work, do all this great stuff, and I feel that in the morning. By the end of the day, it's like, okay, no, I'm just gonna go home and sit on the couch and I'm too tired, or come up with all of these different kinds of excuses. So it's like I have all of this excitement at the start of the day that I'm gonna do all of these things, but then when the time comes to it, I just don't follow through with it.
Okay, so let's check to see if that's what is coming up. So that
Okay, what are you feeling for again in the arm?
I'm feeling a weakness right now, which is that all that means that she's not congruent with the fact that she's really excited and then she falls flat, like she doesn't get going.
Okay.
So
you're just feeling for the...
I'm testing for a strength or a weakness.
Okay.
And the fact that she's weak means that we're on the right topic.
Ah.
So what about all that you're really excited, but you know, and then at the end of the day, you don't actually do it? Like, what about that is most difficult? Like, what is most hard about that?
That's so frustrating because I have this whole goal and plan set for myself. I've, gone into my calendar, so this is what I'm going to do. And then when I get to the end of the day, all I want to do is just run home. And I'm like, but you had such energy at the start of the day and you had such a plan. Why are you falling back on that plan? And then it's like, well, if you continue to fall back on this plan, this is why you don't get ahead. This is why you can't lose weight. This is why this is what your problem is. And then I start getting mad at myself, of course, because of that.
Okay, so we're now going to check to see if there is an even earlier event in her life where, checking for the concept of the most original event, when there was the feeling of being frightfully overjoyed about someone or something because it just made you really frustrated that you wouldn't follow through on what you really wanted. Okay, so from conception to age 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 20 to 25, 20. So the concept that you felt frightfully overjoyed at 20. So where were you? What were you doing when you were 20 years old?
Well, I was a sophomore, I guess, in college, and I was actually changing my major at the time, and I knew at that point that all I wanted to do was go into sports journalism, going to sports media relations, and I was running full force with a huge head of steam. And then, of course, neglecting everything else that I needed in my life. For example, going to class and, getting my degree. I was much more interested in just racing full speed ahead without doing the steps that I needed to do to actually get to where I wanted to be.
Okay. So think about that. We're going to find the point again that makes her strong. So
is it her pulse, or what are you feeling for?
So hold this point.
It's just what you know what to do.
I'm bringing it around this way. Yes, and then that.
It's her vein?
Yeah, there are different pulse points. So in Chinese medicine, there are different pulse points, and she's hooking it up to her emotional points so that she's holding the point that she was weak on, the feeling of frightfully overjoyed, being too happy, like running towards something and then running away. And she's going to hold that point, and she's going to hook it up to her emotional points on her brain so that she feels the emotion more fully. And then when she feels like she gets distracted or she doesn't think about it as much, it's basically taking the emotional charge off of something. So I like to look at it kind of like the analogy of a dial tone. So on a radio, you have something turned up really high, and then going through the NET protocol, it takes the emotional charge off things, and now it's like back at a lower volume.
Okay. And I think we have something that actually will show on the screen all these different points that we can go through. So sabotaging your own fitness goals and tips for clearing those obstacles. So this is from Dr. Sterling, that you don't deserve to have a killer body. You'll lose your friends. Because they'll be like, oh, you got all skinny and fabulous. Well, I don't like you anymore. You'll lose your friends, that you'll have to follow your plan, or else you are a failure, defensive, and you don't believe you can. So those are all some things that we should all be doing to clear those off the table and just say what?
Well, all of those are basically things that get in the way of achieving what you want. It's just like different things that come up in an unconscious way, like, oh, I don't deserve it, or just the negative self-talk that women in particular just give ourselves every day. If we could actually listen to some of that, it would sound awful. And
why do women especially do that to ourselves?
That's a good question.
And not guys.
I just think that men, a lot of men just in general, they don't have that extra chatter. They just don't have it. I think a lot of women just put so much pressure on themselves to have a family, to have a career, to have a body, to have like everything. I mean, I'm sure that men do. I mean, I know for a fact some of the men that's come to see me do have the inner self-critical dialogue as well, but I see it more so in women, just the pressures we have.
And so even now, just going through this, Amy, and I know we're, on a TV show,
right.
like it's kind of hard to open up, but I mean, does that, when you put, with the charge thing to your head and you're like, did that help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You get this rush of emotions of kind of everything that you've had bottled up. And sometimes they just float away, and sometimes you realize, processing them, that, oh, it's not X that's the problem, it's Y, and I hadn't thought about it like that before. And then you realize, oh, this is what's probably, stepping in my way, and then we'll explore that further. I would say to her something like, while I was thinking about this, I realized that so many years ago I didn't want to take initiative on going and working out because I felt that I was that I didn't deserve it, really. And then I was like, oh, well, that's my problem, and then we work on that.
But it's interesting because it's a connection between feeling your body and physically. That's what's fascinating to me. So it's not like hypnotizing you and going back to the 3rd grade when so-and-so was a mean girl to you. It's actually feeling in your body the physical response and then connecting it back into your emotion and your brain.
Exactly. That's why it's really mind-body. It's not just talking about it, or not just about how you feel in your body. It's connecting the two.
All right, well, let's connect some more. We have another patient. We'll be right back with Dr. Sterling and another patient, talk more about NET, and hopefully inspire and heal you.